Hello everybody, I'm Archimo. Today I'll be talking about the current flaws with skins in Team Fortress 2, as well as how Valve could fix all of them. Considering I'm the expert in the department on unusual weapons and possibly the biggest spender on them as well, I feel like I have quite some valid arguments to be made around the subject. Let's start with potentially the biggest and most obvious flaw in the system. Once a warpaint is applied, there's no way to revert the weapon back to a warpaint. This means that it's way harder to price stuff or enjoy your item while you try to trade it. I'd propose an option to do such either via restore function or with a tool item. This tool would be a bit like the various other tools that currently exist in TF2. It would be used and consumed to revert one war-painted item back to its original war-paint form. Alternatively, it could just give you the option of converting a war-painted weapon into another war-painted weapon, as if it were a warpaint. In this other scenario, the tool would of course only get consumed upon confirming your new weapon. This tool should be obtainable via the Manco store as well as a bonus item from unboxing like many other tools, if not pretty much all other tools. This would mean that as long as a version of the skin exists, you'd be able to price all of the items it can be applied to off the warpaint's price. This would be very handy for expensive skins, especially when we speak strange versions as well as unusual and strange unusual skins. The next flaw that I'd like to discuss is purely regarding unusual skins, and it isn't actually a flaw yet. Now what do I mean with that? Well, to put it simply, it's how unusual effects are handled on skins. If Valve planned to add more unusual effects to skins, while currently the biggest value factor is if the weapon is, or skin is strange, or if it have a certain wear, the effect currently rarely matters for value at all. It does matter on a few weapons, but even then, it's not that much unless there's a collector who wants to just pay that much for it. There are two solutions to just straight up fix this issue. Number one would be to keep it like the current amount of effects that are available for unusual skins, which in my opinion would be such a shame. Like, that's just a shame, like waste of an opportunity there. The other option would be to add another tool, I know, another tool, to the Manco store. Potentially this one could also be obtained from unboxing, but they might want to log it to just the Manco store, or maybe they just want to straight up log it to unboxing. It could even be a sort of semi-unusual quality. This tool would allow you to randomize from the current active unusual weapon effects, which is what you can see when you hover or inspect a warpaint case, where you see the current effects in the rotation. It would basically randomize off of those effects, a bit like how I guess an unusual fire would work, except it wouldn't really change your weapon, it would just change the effect on the weapon. Of course, this tool would only work on skins that are already unusual quality, and considering the thing that affects the price the least across the board are the unusual effects on skins, this just seems like such a no-brainer to add this kind of tool, since it wouldn't really do any harm to the economy, if at all. And it would open up for so many future additions of unusual effects for skins. And now you may be like, can't they just add a lot of unusual effect for skins in the current system without it mattering? And this is where I need to talk about the difference with what makes unusual hats expensive and compared with unusual skins. When it comes to hats, the main factor on prices are the hat itself and the effects. Meanwhile, if we look on unusual skins, the main factors are the skin itself, which pretty much equal to hat itself, the wear, hats they do not have wear, and if it's strange. And it is super rare that it even matters that a hat is strange. Like usually it might add maybe 10 keys to your below 100 key hat or whatever if it's unusual strange. But it really doesn't matter, not at all, compared to how vastly a difference it makes on skins. Now, adding several new effects for skins would increase the likelihood of high and low tier effects being a thing, which would make the current system kind of an unnecessary mess, while if the tool I mentioned got added, it would equalize the value of skins as it currently is, regardless of the amount of effects added. Considering that it's currently working out due to low amount of effects, it might be a good idea to ensure that it doesn't become a huge mess if more effects are added, and just give people the freedom to get their dream skins with their dream effects, and in worst case, they could always use the tool to roll for another effect or simply have the option of selecting the effect they want with the tool depending on which version got picked for implementation. The last flaw I have to talk about is unusual weapons on Spy. Currently unusual weapons on Spy are extremely buggy, and it's likely why they didn't add new option when they added war paints to the game. As it is right now, the effect is completely muted when you're disguised for you and your team, which it shouldn't be. It should show for your team and it should show for you in like first person view. Meanwhile, if an enemy spy disguises as your spy, which have the unusual weapons, he'll have the unusual weapons himself with the effects shown. This is kind of a pay to win, because if you see a spy with an unusual weapon and it's disguised, you know it's an enemy. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you again next time.